Well, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome back. We're so glad to be back on track. We took a couple weeks off so that everybody could be part of the Body Balance Challenge. I hope that went really well for everybody. Personally, I'm down another 6 pounds, which is great for me because I feel like I had plateaued off some. I hope you all had success as well. So, what you're going to hear tonight, you're going to hear from Todd. He is the man that taught me everything I know about nutrition because growing up in the South, I knew nothing. I thought I did, but I didn't. So whether you've been here for a while, dropping for a while, or you're new, or you just want to learn how the dropper lifestyle with the food list and the drops can help you with PCOS, insulin resistance, any of that, then you are definitely in for a treat tonight. But I am going to turn it over to Kristen because she has known Todd the longest and she's going to introduce him for us. Kristen?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to be here and get these started again. I've missed all of you. Yeah, I have known Todd, I think, since I was like 16 or 17 years old. And I have to say, I have learned most of my product information, or definitely sparked with him. Been a huge product lover, and hearing him talk in the beginning got me super interested in learning more, and always eager to hear him talk and learn more. He always inspires me to continue my education. So I'm excited to hear him talk about insulin resistance so I can just pick up a few nuggets. So I think we're turning it over to him to take away and share a PowerPoint. I hope you all have your notepads out because you're going to learn a lot and take away and be able to share with people.
Awesome, Kristen. Yeah, and Brittany, I've got my other device is the one I need to be made host, or Sarah,
Awesome.
whoever has access to do that.
Yep, you're good.
Hey,
Good to
Kelly,
go.
hope you're doing great tonight. So I know that this particular call is kind of titled for the PCOS, the polycystic ovarian, but really the insulin sensitivity that Brittany talked about is what that causes in the female's body. And you don't necessarily have to have something that serious to have the insulin sensitivity. So if you're watching this on video, what we're going to go through is actually going to be for any woman that's struggling to break a plateau or frozen in their weight loss journey or not getting the desired results that they want. We're going to cover a number of things. And Kristen, if you don't mind, because you live it every day, I'm going to come to you a lot. And then Kelly and Brittany, anytime that y'all want to chime in, stop me, interrupt me, whatever you've got, please add it in. The presentation is not that long. I just want to kind of get a standard and then we'll go from there. But sorry about that. So just as Kristen said that she learned some product knowledge from me, this is our top doctor. And although Kristen lives in a CrossFit gym 24/7, and although I got my master's in nutrition and kinesiology, the science or the field of weight loss, blood sugar, disease, cancer, cardiovascular events, like that has been such a moving target the last 20 or 30 years. The science that's come out over the last 30 years many times has been over the next decade proven to be totally wrong or very insufficient. So I will tell you in 2025, what all the science is now saying is that the most damaging thing you can do to your body, the way you can put yourself at the most risk for a cardiovascular event you don't want, or being diagnosed with cancer or some other degenerative disease, some autoimmune disease, is to keep your body in what we call insulin resistance over a period of time. And what is that? That is when you have elevated blood sugar over a period of time. You're not really what they call a pre-diabetic yet on the chart, or a type 2 diabetic, but yet you're not normal. And these are some things that Dr. Strand says in his books, that if you have a midsection that holds more weight than it should, that's generally where men store their fat. If you have high blood pressure, if you have low good cholesterol and high bad cholesterol is allocated there with the HDL and LDL, if you have elevated triglycerides, if you have two of the three of any of these things listed here, it's highly likely that you have insulin insensitivity. So we've signaled the problem what I love to do is not signal the problem. I like to show you the solution. So before we start going into the solution, anything else you want to say on the insulin resistance, that the PCOS, all the women with PCOS are going to have that to a high degree. That's one of the number one symptoms of the PCOS. Anything you want to add there, Kristen or Brittany or anybody?
Nope, I don't think so.
Don't add anything, I don't think so.
Okay, so I mentioned earlier that the chronic disease is is um is actually growing in your body long before it's diagnosed. So if I have this elevated blood sugar, kind of imagine that being your pool in your backyard and you have this algae growing in it and we never treat it. And then all of a sudden, a couple years in, it's like thick and rotted. And now we got to redo the whole pool. We can't just clean the water anymore. That's what we don't want the body to get to. And the way it kind of works in traditional medicine is we have this insulin sensitivity. We start gaining weight. We start having this inflammation in our body. We're told we have a low thyroid. We're told whatever we're told by the doctor. The doctors come in, and instead of preventing the fire, they're trying to give you things to put the fire out or slow the fire's progress down. But we never really got to the solution. Like, what was the spark that caused this fire? And I will tell you, all the latest research is showing that so many of the issues we're dealing with in today's world is insulin sensitivity. And the cardiovascular risk now associated. I'm going to give you some examples here with the cardiovascular risk. But the first thing I want you to do is read that first sign. Is the first sign of a heart disease with over 60% of the time is sudden death of a heart attack. So like, you don't want to wait until you're diagnosed, because you got a 60% chance of not having any chance to do anything about it if you're in that category. And all research now points to, there's other risk factors: smoking, not taking care of yourself, sedentary lifestyle. There's all kind of other risks, but far and away, the most doctors and the most science now is pointing to the risk factor associated with us walking around with insulin sensitivity in our body, meaning we always have this elevated blood sugar. By the way, we're getting ready to show you the solution. Also, that heart disease is a inflammatory problem. So long before we have a heart problem, sometimes men have an erectile problem. Sometimes men and women have lots of inflammation going on in their body, meaning they just ache and hurt. The doctors are telling them they got rheumatoid or fibromyalgia, you name it. And a lot of times it's just inflammation that's just on fire because of all the elevated blood sugars in the body. All right, so let's move into the solution now. So the first thing is, we all know the drops do a number of things in the body. They help balance thyroid, they limit cortisol secretion. The B12 and the ashwagandha really help with metabolism, mood. Tremendous research showing that elevated B12 levels can really help with depression and anxiety. So we get all of these fabulous results going on. But the number one thing the drops do is they suppress the ghrelin hormone, and they help to stabilize blood sugar, and they help give you great decision-making ability to eat the correct foods. And just so you'll know, the direction booklet that comes with the approved food list, if you have PCOS, or if you are one of these insulin insensitive people, and you ask, now, what is an insulin insensitive person that doesn't have PCOS? That is someone that has damaged their pancreas because they drink so much liquid sugar, or they're always eating sugary things. They're releasing insulin, and sooner or later, the body just gets out of balance, and that insulin release just doesn't work effectively anymore. It pulls the blood sugar too low. Your body's always in this starvation mode for more sugar because you've been pulled too low, and you've got a headache, and you're tired, and you're reaching for the next Mountain Dew or the next Snickers. It is imperative that if you have PCOS or insulin sensitivity in your body, that you eat from our approved food list. Why? I actually you can go to ChatBT and do this, or you can go to Grok. You're going to see in just a second, I went to Grok, which is just the version of AI that I use now. It's so helpful on all this stuff. But if you just go and put in PCOS recommended ways of eating, or insulin sensitivity recommended ways of eating, just know that the approved food list that's been with the drops the entire 12 years, that's in the book, is what's called the low glycemic food index. It does not spike blood sugar. This has to be present to stop weight gain. We're going to come back for testimonials in 1 second. I just want to show you the very first thing that pulled up on Grok. It said key dietary principles. And the question was, what if you have PCOS? What are the dietary recommendations? Choose complex carbs, quinoa. I would not suggest rice, especially white rice, although it could be. I'm just reading what Grok said. I would stick more to your fibrous vegetables, the broccoli, the cauliflower, all the things on the list. You'll see that we don't have the rice. That gets a little bit lenient for somebody that's really got insulin sensitivity going on. You don't want to spike any blood sugar at all because your body doesn't have the ability to deal with it. And then gut health include fiber-rich foods, vegetables with fiber, fruits with fiber, chia seeds. And I put on the picture here, I love taking our fiber product in the evenings before I go to bed, in addition to any time that maybe I'm going to have something I shouldn't have, which is very seldom anymore, because once you get your body trained, it doesn't want the bad things anymore. But that fiber product we have in correlation with the drops is especially important for those with insulin sensitivity or PCOS. Now, what I want to share with you, going back to some of these pictures, is that you've got to understand the science of why. And once you do, it'll all make sense. So the drops within themselves are balancing the body and giving it its best chance to lose weight and giving you your best chance to make the right decisions. But it cannot control blood sugar if you're drinking liquid sugar or putting sugar in your body. And the way the body works is really, really simple. There are 3 energy systems in your body. And once you learn this, it'll manage your life for the rest of your life. It'll always answer your question. And it's really, really simple. And that is anything that is sugar or that you eat that can quickly convert to sugar. That would be like bread, rice, candy, any of those things, all sugar. Fruit without fiber, especially fruit drinks, all straight sugar. That is sugar. When you drink it and it hits the blood, the doctors are going to call it glucose. That's just blood in the sugar. And that is your first energy source. You drink it, it goes to the blood. And then when you move, you go to get that glucose out of your blood for energy. Your body will never mess that up. So if there is available sugar in your blood, that's what you're using for anything that you do. Once you burn through that or don't provide your blood with more of it, you then will start going into what we call the glycogen. That is stored sugar in your liver and muscle. That's your second energy source. By the way, that's the second place we store it. Once your blood is full, doesn't need any more sugar, the first storage place will be your liver and muscle. But here's the good news and the bad news. The bad news is that when you've eaten more sugar than you need, which is most of us most of the time, then we store that sugar as fat. All fat is in the body is stored energy. So that's good and bad, because we do need stored energy. But here's the issue. When you're insulin insensitive, your body can never easily get to that third energy system, and that's the fat. Not until the glucose is drained out, not until the glycogen is semi-drained out, will your body flip over and burn a fat cell. So people that are what's called fat adapted or not insulin sensitive, they can move between their energy systems pretty freely, meaning that they eat something they probably shouldn't, they go for a little walk or have a little activity, all of a sudden they're burning through it, they're back in their glycogen, and when they run out of that, before they have another meal, maybe they burn just a little bit of fat for energy. They're just normal. That's the way the body's supposed to work. When we get in the insulin insensitive, by the way, 60+% of the United States is insulin insensitive. So you don't have to have PCOS to have this. Just most people walking around. It is the majority. They don't do that anymore. So when they burn through their sugar or their glucose and they start burning through their glycogen, instead of turning on the fat burning machine, the body won't flip over. It just gets hung, which gives you really low energy. It gives you headaches. It makes you not feel good. It makes you want to quit your diet. It makes you think nothing's working. That's the reason that once you get on the drops and you go to the approved food list, that if you will not cheat and you will go through 3 days in the keto diet, they used to call it the keto flu, that if you can get through the 4th day and burn through that glucose and glycogen and get your fat burning machine turned back on, if you don't turn that on very easily, and actually use that for energy, if you won't screw it up, meaning you will eat from the approved food list, you will take your drops and keep them underneath your tongue 4 times a day, you will drink half your body weight in ounces of water every day, and you will not cheat, the hardest loser will begin to lose weight. More importantly, anybody that has PCOS or that is insulin sensitive, they deal with these mood swings and these energy swings all day, every day, because they're not fat adapted. As soon as they burn through their sugar in their blood, they feel like SHIT. So they go eat more sugar, more caffeine, whatever they do to fill back up. And it's just this vicious cycle. Like, and I say this with love, like, bow up, get tough, and break through. And sometimes for me, I have to do the drops 5 times a day when I'm trying to really get to the other side and feel really good all the time. And I'm in that zone right now. For the last 6 weeks or so, I have just not cheated. I haven't wanted a cheat bite. And when you can get in that zone, you feel so freaking good. And Kristen, I know you can talk. I'm going to unshare my screen. I know you can talk about that for me for a little bit. Is just what that feels like when you're burning fat for energy instead of glucose and glycogen.
Yeah, well, I think you kind of said it best. When your body starts able to flip through the mechanisms on how you can burn, you've really balanced yourself out. Like, you've become insulin sensitive at that point. And that's the goal. Like, you don't want to become a diabetic. I don't know if you can reverse PCOS, but you can certainly manage it and make your body more adapted to it. And there are certain things you can do to get your body more insulin sensitive. We've talked about it on some of the other Zooms. Obviously using the drops, eating from the approved food list. There's certain foods that can make you more insulin sensitive. We want your pancreas not to be working so hard. We want your blood sugars to not be so high. We want your cells to actually open the door and let the glucose in so it can get used. Like, that's what's happening. Your cells aren't letting that glucose in to have storage anymore, because it's just staying in the bloodstream. And that's why they feel so bad and they have all these extra side effects. But you can do some things to start working and making your body manage it. And I think Brittany's proof of that, because she lost over 100 pounds. And she had probably one of the worst cases I've ever seen. Probably stubborn fat and sticking, and then it started working. And then she lost it. So it's proof that it works. She's proof that it works. She made her body insulin sensitive again.
And one thing I tell Brittany and I tell everybody is life is not fair. Get over it. Like, it's the journey here is not going to be the same easy for everybody. Like, we see it all the time. We have women that get on the drops and they think it's manna from heaven and they feel like $1 million on day 3 and they lose 2 pounds. And these other women are like, well, they ain't done nothing for me. I gained a pound. My thyroid feels worse today than it did before. So, like, everybody doesn't get the same result on the same day. Low thyroids, insulin sensitivity are generally going to be 30, 45 days in on this program before it really starts to kick in for you. And that's following it correctly. It just takes a minute to get these thyroids and blood sugar stabilized enough the body can, like insulin sensitivity, you're sick. The pancreas is not working correctly. Like, we have to do some maintenance on the body. It's kind of like taking the car to the shop. Once we get it fixed, it's going to run a lot better.
Yeah, that's, and saying it direct is, the best way to put it. I actually had a lady the other day tell me, I didn't know the drops came with a food list. I'm not sure I can do them now. And I might be the worst person you can say that to. And I said, well, what a shame to have such a mentality that way, that you would prefer to stay sick and feel bad than eat from that list. I don't even know this lady that well. And she was so, like, blindsided. I said, you've told me how bad you have felt for years and you don't want to eat from a simple list. Okay, I guess you can just send the drops back. I just said that. And she said, no, she's a sweet Spanish lady. No, Kristen, I think I'll think maybe I will try them after all you said. I said, yes. I said, well, your attitude is terrible. No wonder you feel so bad. At least I was having that day, but you just got to buckle up, people. If you feel bad and we have a product we know works, it's the tool. It's the tool to get you feeling better. And so she's now on day 3 of her drops, and she is doing her best to eat from the list. So it's kind of that way. You just got to, buckle up. So.
Yeah. And just know that if you have PCOS or you have insulin sensitivity or you have prediabetes or you're a type 2 diabetic and you have a desire to feel better, look better, be better, not be sick, not give a breeding ground to all the things we don't want. Like it requires change. It's like you can't say, I want to keep, drinking my Coca-Cola and 4 bottles of wine and 2 cakes, and you just can't keep doing all that. So people ask me all the time, can you get well without the drops? And the answer is yes. Why haven't you already? The answer is because most people do not have the physical discipline it takes to make all those changes. That's where the drops come in. If you will keep those drops underneath your tongue for at least 30 seconds separately, at least 3 times a day, if they're not kicking in 4 to 5 times a day, they will kick in. And when they kick in, you're going to have this discipline you've never had before. And then if you cut out all liquid sugar, only drink unsweet tea, water, lemon water, green tea, like you've got to stay away from any sugar and any artificial sweeteners. If you can do that and not get this blood sugar spiking up and down again, within a couple of weeks, depending on how bad your body is, you're going to feel a million times better. Inflammation is going to start coming down. Like I hear these stories all the time with the drops and neuropathy and feet swelling coming down. And I hear a lot of things that really should be more tied to MOA. But what it is people changing their diet. When they get the sugar out of their diet, their swelling comes down and their inflammation comes down. The drops themselves are not necessarily affecting that.
Yeah, sugar is super inflammatory. And once you get your body's chemistry changing, you quit having those cravings. And that's literally what the drops are helping you do, not just with the foods, but there's things in there that are going to help the chemistry in your body get balanced. And that's one reason why I love that they help change your taste buds, because you don't want the sugar and things like that, which is super important for obviously people who are resistant, because you don't need sugar. Nobody needs sugar, but specifically people that are insulin resistant. So
Can I add something in?
yes.
So, I just want to say, because I was ignorant, like it wasn't because I wanted to not know, but you only know what you know, right? But carbs turn into sugar. So people were like talking about cut out sugar, and I wasn't eating Cokes, right? And I was doing all the right things because I wasn't eating sugar, but I was still consuming artificial sweeteners that were 0 sugar that I thought were magic, and carbs. It wasn't like I sat down to rolls, but I would have a baked potato every now and then. Well, that turns into sugar. So when they're saying sugars, I just want to put out there, that's also those carbs, because that was my Achilles heel completely. Kelly, you have anything you want to add, what you've learned?
Well, I will say following the food list is very important. When I first started my drop journey, I didn't think so, because I was already eating what I thought was healthy, what I thought was good for my body. I knew to avoid dairy. And when I first started the drops, I started dropping weight without consciously changing things. And then I started noticing, well, I'm no longer drinking Diet Cokes. I'm no longer doing all of this. But I didn't even look at the food list, I hate to say this, for over a year. And Todd had always said, you've got to follow the plan. Don't say that. Don't tell people that, which I never told them not to, but I didn't realize how big of a difference it could make. The first time I followed the list was for the Body Balancing Challenge in January. And I was shocked that I lost enough body fat percentage that I won third in that category. And the only change I made was following the food list, and I lost 9.8 pounds.
That's good,
Yeah.
Kelly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's about knowledge completely. Nobody wants to be fat. I was working out. I was over exercising. I was on my Peloton and treadmill every day. We were kickboxing 4 days a week, and my weight was going up. I was building great muscle, but I didn't want to be fat anymore. I didn't want to be 400 pounds anymore, but I thought I was doing right. So, lock arms with the people that are talking to you about the drops and let them help you and guide you, and stay on the food list, because Kelly said it, Todd said it, Kristen said it. I lost my first 44 pounds in my first 15 weeks because I did not deviate from the food list. When I started getting away from it, that's when things started not happening as quickly. So
yeah. One footnote for what y'all are talking about there is that, remember, somebody that has a really good working body, they're not insulin sensitive. They don't have PCOS. They're what's called fat adapted. Their energy systems are all working smoothly. They can get away with cheat meals. It doesn't mess them up. Not that it's good, But if you're insulin sensitive until you heal, and you're not going to heal for some time, like it takes a long time to get these energy systems working right again.
Mhm.
When you have a cheat meal, I used to tell you this all the time, Brittany, and you know it, that not only do you set yourself back with zero chance for losing weight for 3 days, but you reset all the cravings and all the things you have to overcome again. And every time you reset them, they're harder to break each time.
Yeah.
So it's like it's your body's always trying to adjust on you and keep you tricked instead of vice versa. So like, don't give it the bad stuff. If you can just stick with the good stuff, you'll feel so much better. You won't want the bad stuff anymore.
Yeah. Thanks, Todd. Yeah, that's why I said he's helped me through all of it, because it's hard. I mean, those of you with PCOS or insulin resistance that are here tonight, you know it's hard. But we have a tool, whereas before all I did was gain weight. It didn't matter what I did. So all I can say to you is, if you haven't tried the drops, that this is your cue to try the drops and get with the person that invited you here tonight, because they cared enough about you to bring you here. And I want to thank Todd and Kristen, as always. They're a wealth of knowledge. And then Kelly, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think Todd said it best.
Yeah, just don't cheat.
Well,
I
y'all
can't
are
be as blunt
amazing
as
for
him
doing this call
sometimes.
every Monday. Everybody loves it. I hear about it all the time. And for everybody that struggles with the drops in the beginning, there's 5 that are having life-changing testimonials. So become one of the 5. Like, just buckle down, drink your water. I always say I've never found anybody doing everything right that doesn't lose weight. Half your body weight analysis, don't cheat, eat from the approved food list. And then there may be some things we have to do, like we may have to do a detox with the RestoreX and pull some heavy metals and stuff out of your body. We may have to, add a probiotic in and get good gut health. We may need some extra fiber. We may need to add the Advantage and raise your metabolism up a little bit. So just know that if there is a desire for weight loss, and more importantly, in my opinion, longevity and overall health and no pain, then we have the solution. And these girls right here know it as good as anybody on planet Earth. They can add all the different things in, tell you how to do the detox, and guide you on your decision making on eating. Not that they make the right decision every time, but they can guide you. It's always easier to guide somebody else than it is yourself. I know, I'm that person.
I wish I
so
would have listened
true.
sooner.
Yeah,
I thought I
and then
felt
every
good.
time
You
you
know, it
fall
felt
off,
good.
I fall off the wagon. I wish I would jump back on sooner, but that's why it's our journey and it's our life. And, I've been here 2 years and it's up and down, but that's okay, because the fact is we're all getting healthier together. But if weight loss is your goal, eat from the food list. If you fall off, don't punish yourself. Actually, Dr. Crystal's dad told me this the first time I'd ever met anybody. He said, just if you're going to cheat, just do it, but know there's repercussions. And then don't feel guilty. Just get back on and be done. I will say that I will not do that as often as I used to. So there's that. Let's, the body balance challenge kind of challenges us all to reset and get back going. So I'm glad that they do that as well. All right, guys. Well, Kristen, yeah, Todd, please.
No, I'm just going to say, anybody wants to watch a presentation on my link, I'm about to do one for a couple people. But I was going to ask you and Kristen and Kelly if y'all would come on and share, like, I'll use you first if you'll do like a 5-second testimonial for me.
Well, I'm doing a drop talk right now in 2 minutes.
Okay.
So I was going to invite
that's
people.
why we're closing out. So,
Okay.
Kristen, yeah, but I'll hop over there, Todd, for sure.
Okay. All right. I'm moving your picture over there right now.
All right.
All right. See y'all in a little bit. Everybody have a great one.
We'll see y'all there. So thank you everybody for coming tonight. We will see you in 2 weeks. What day is that? Let me look really quickly. So that is on June the 30th. And we'll see you guys there. But for now, if you're looking for the recording,
30th.
Is it the 30th? Yep. Are you good with that, Kelly? We'll talk about it.
It should be.
Yeah, awesome. So June 30th, but we'll get all that out in part.
I'm maybe on a cruise ship, but I'm going to try
you're-
my best to join in.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll work it out. How about that? Yeah. Well, we're not going to cut into your cruise for sure. So I just want to thank everybody. If you guys have questions, feel free when we post the videos to ask underneath. And maybe we'll try to get some questions answered on in the next few Zoom. So thank you so much. Oh, they're looking for, okay. So if you guys are wanting, I don't know, you'll have to scroll back up to get the link for. All right, hang on. I'm going to stop recording. Thanks again, guys.